Hi there, this is the instructions for the finale-based project for harmonizing Don't Know Why. Okay, you open up your file, it looks something like this, and you're going to do four-way close harmonization using finale. So what you do first is you make sure you're in simple entry mode by clicking on this little eighth note here, and then you select a half note. And then you can use the right or left arrows to move the note around. And what you're going to do is spell out the chord, but you're going to use four-way close voice leading, which means that you're going to first of all try to keep common tones. So you look, right now we're looking at this E flat major 7. And we first of all figure out what the notes are in a D7. And then we see if there's any common tones. And if we look carefully, we see that D7 has a D, an F sharp, an A, and a C. And so one of those notes is a D, and this chord also has a D in it. So we're definitely going to keep that D in the same voice. It's all about economy, about moving as little as possible. Then of the remaining notes in the D chord, we just go to the nearest one that we can find. So we can go to a C here, that's a note that we need. We can go to an F here, it's going to actually be an F sharp, so you're going to have to sharpen the note by hitting the plus key on the keyboard. And then we can go to an A here. And you'll notice that the key about four-way close is that no single voice ever moves more than a third. Now this is a voice, this is the lowest voice, and it just moves a second. This is the second to lowest voice, and it stays the same. This is the third to lowest voice, and it just moves a second. And this is the top voice, and it just moves a second. So no single voice is moving more than a third. And we keep common tones whenever possible. Now you may be noticed that I could have done this another way. I could have actually had the B flat go down to an A here instead of a C, and that would have also been okay. Because again, that's only a second, that's only a second, that's only a second, and that's only a second. The only problem with that in terms of our rules is that we didn't keep the same note in the same voice. We didn't keep our D as the second voice. Okay, but it is an acceptable alternative as long as no voice moves more than a third. Okay, so now that we know how to do that, do four-way close voice leading, I'll just move that one back up because I'm going to keep that version. Then we go to our next chord and we spell that out, and we realize that that has the notes G, B flat, D, and F. So we look for common tones, and sure enough there's another D. So we know we can keep that D. And we also have an F, which is, it's an F natural. And then we could have the A go to a G, and then we could have the C go to a B flat, and then we've got our chords spelled out. And so it goes. You're going to continue spelling out your chords, moving as little as possible. Now notice here we have another non-diatonic note. In the key signature, because it's B flat, there's an E flat in the key signature, but we need an E natural there for that C7, so you have to make sure it's an E natural, and then a G, and then we have that chord. And then when we get over to this last chord, you'll notice it lasts for the whole measure, so it's time to use a whole note and spell out our chord with a whole note. And at this point, you may want to play it back and see what it's sounding like. And it goes on from there. So you carry on this process and harmonize the whole song in the same way, making sure that you're spelling your chords correctly. And once you've done that, then you're ready for part 2, which is to import it into Garageband. So the way we do that is we go to File, Save As, And then we say down here, it's this is what you want to look at right here. This is the key thing. It says format finale notation file, but you want to change that to standard MIDI file. You change that to standard MIDI file. And then you go ahead and say, okay, you choose a place to save it. I'm saving it in this folder here. Save it, and you always choose format 1. That's pre-selected anyway. And it saves that. And then you open up the Garageband file I've given you, which looks like this, which actually has Norah Jones singing, the actual track in it. You grab your MIDI file, which looks like this. It has the ends in the words .mid.midi. And you drag it in to the Garageband file, and in a sort of magical way, it just imports all that sound. Now, because the intro, I didn't, the track isn't lining up because I didn't, because the MIDI in this gave us 4 measures intro, because there's a count off. Just drag it over, and then you can just mute off the piano because we don't need that, and mute off the bass, we don't need that. And here's our harmonization, and then you play it, and there it is.
I waited till I saw the sun.
And now you've added strings to Norah Jones' song. You can say that you added strings to a hit record.